Club motorsport in the United Kingdom is seen as one of the most interesting, competitive and exciting in the world. And for the remainder of 2021, I'm going to take you inside one of the UK's flagship organisations, the 750 Motor Club. We'll get to know the drivers, the cars and the tracks and let you know how you can get involved and go racing yourself. Today we'll be focused on the Clio 182 Championship. It's a tightly controlled one-make championship for the Mark II Renault Sport Clio 182 Cup car. The championship is aimed at drivers looking for a tightly controlled and excellent value for money front-wheel drive tin-top racing series. And regulation-compliant cars can be built for as little as £5,000 to £7,000, with very limited modification needed from the production specification. This allows for the racing to be very close and allows the cars out on track to be nearly identical. But before I say any more, let's get to know one of the drivers who's enjoyed racing in this championship over the past few seasons.
My name's Stephen Richardson. This is my son Lewis Richardson, and we race in the K-Tech Clio 182 Championship in the 750 Motor Club. I've always been into motorsports since a kid, like everyone did, so being here is a bit of a dream. I never thought I'd actually get it. To do it with my son is amazing. My cousin used to race in the classic touring car championship, and we went down and watched the race at, I think he was only about 5, Mallory Park, and we just got hooked and we followed him around through the mini challenge. And then I got to a stage in my life, which the wife would call it as midlife crisis, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And you know, we've been doing it for the last 3 years now. Starting to get to know the car and understand where we're going at, and you know, spending the time doing something with your son is amazing. And now he's pursuing a career in motorsport. It's unreal. You know, like yesterday, first race, blew a gearbox, and my son changed it for me. And I just stood there and watched and kept him for the tee.
Gave me a massage.
Oh yeah, a little massage, just to keep him going.
The idea of the championship is to keep the cars as equal as possible at a low cost. The only permitted engine is the Renault Clio 182 Type F4R 738, including the K-Tech Racing Control Series ECU. Control K-Tech racing coilovers also need to be fitted, as well as Team Dynamics Pro Race 1.2 wheels, which are discounted for competitors. You'll also need to use the Yokohama Control tyres, which are limited over a season to reduce costs. This stops drivers using a new set of tyres for every single event. The brake discs must be standard or of a standard pattern and be of standard diameter and thickness, but a racing pad material is allowed. The standard gearbox must be retained, as well as the standard gearbox ratios. Limited slip differentials are not permitted in this championship, and cars must run a 6-point bolt-in roll cage and must be running identical to the specification of the Clio 182 Cup model CB22.
I hired a car out, so I wanted a one-make championship. As much as I like the class racing, I think a one-make championship is more competitive and more is even. And I looked around, and the Clios are such a close. I mean, like yesterday, we're talking half a second between the grid, and you know, it's more wheel on wheel, teaching your racecraft. Frustrating, but extremely rewarding. My first race, Donham Park, wasn't it? For one, I had to pinch myself. I've got goosebumps now just thinking about it. I didn't realise I was at 40 years old. I was like, I'm a big kid at heart, but the emotions, and I formed up on the grid, and I had a tear in my eye.
Nearly threw up, didn't you?
No, I nearly threw up. Yeah, it was so scary. I finished last, but I finished, so I was happy with that. And then a couple of race weekends, I had my first podium after a massive crash. Not to my own eye, you know, and another car collected me when I was in the gravel already. And I came back and went from 26th to 6th, and then I started the second race and I got my first ever podium. And I was that excited. I was punching the air, and yeah, I cracked my windscreen unfortunately because I was so excited. And the emotion of coming back, my son, and yeah, mate, you can see the excitement in me. For me, it'll stick in my mind forever. The favourite moment is every time we go. It's like, the way I can explain it, it's like when you book holidays to abroad. So on the Thursday, Friday, you get excited, we can't sleep. Then you get to the track, it's like being at the airport. Then you're on the plane flying, and then when it comes down, it's just, I'll be a mess for days now, exhausted. It's such an emotional roller coaster. But I just want to thank everybody in this paddock. It's unreal. From being around other series to my gearbox broke, another guy come over and give me a gearbox, chucking fuel, and the crash that I had in the back of this, it was stoved in, and Jack Kingsbury was leading the championship. He came over with his dad and Ryan Polly from Polly Motorsport, picked up the car while I was in, dragged it around and started pulling it all out, and I was just absolutely indebted. So, and he gave me that new lease to go and get things done. It's such a great community here.
It's been tough. We had some help and we really got the car a benchmark of where it needs to be, and we've just progressed from there really. We do our own setup now, we do all sorts just to try and tweak it all together.
Ryan Polly gave us a benchmark, who won the championship, and then we're just learning it and tweaking it. But I wouldn't be able to do it if it weren't for the support I've got back at home. And yeah, the love and the care, and I mean the car's a bit tatty, but we're building a new one for next year now, and which we're spending the last 3 months, haven't you? I've got no mechanical knowledge. Lewis is doing this for a living, so he's actually teaching me something. And when you get taught something by your kids, it's quite an emotional thing. My daughter watches it on TV when she's at work.
She hates it though.
Oh, she hates it, yeah. And the wife, she has kittens every time I get in the car. But it's such a great thing to do, you know. It's not as expensive as you might think. If you can do it at a budget, the more, especially with this championship, throw as much money as you want, but realistically, you're not gonna, you know, get a massive result.
Let's have a look at the cost of this championship. So, as the idea of the series is to keep costs down, the overall package is pretty impressive throughout the season. The club membership is just £25 for 12 months, series registration is just £135, and a typical double-header race weekend, that's qualifying followed by 2 50-minute races, are typically between £250 and £350, and this depends on the circuit. In 2021, the championship has visited Cadwell, Donington, Anglesey, Silverstone, Brands Hatch, and has its final round of the season at Snetterton in October 2021.
I take this on a track day, and it's like taking a gun to a knife fight. It's a standard engine, standard gearbox, controlled suspension, controlled ECU. The brakes are standard. It's just literally how it drives and how you learn. I've got a bit of a soft spot for them. I know they're like 14, 15 years old now, but I can't see me racing anything else at the moment. Lewis is looking to pass his driving test. He's only 17, very shortly, and my goal is to actually pass the keys and let him race, or even do like the Burkett where we share the car, and then move on. So hopefully, when he has his kids, it'll pass. You know, yeah. If it weren't for my cousin showing me how to get into it, I wouldn't be able to get here. And the same with my son. And now he's making a career out of it. I'd rather do this than go on a holiday, mate. Even though the wife's over there going no.
I'll be doing loads of work on single series, and I'm going back to my second year now, and hopefully I can start working on single series and hopefully progress up to F1. I've had an interview with Mercedes F1, but I was just a year too young. But and I can't really travel unless I have my dad, but I don't think he would really care going on holiday.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go.
So they said give it a year or so, and I would have gone in no problem. So just have to try find somewhere to start now. Obviously I've started here, but yeah, I need to go into
he's playing
professional.
Down a little bit what he does. He's the youngest kid in the paddock as such. He's been here now since he literally just turned 16. And his knowledge of helping other guys that are just in, he goes over and helps out, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's like, you know, you've got your football communities, but motor racing, it's like nobody cares what you do for a living, nobody cares where you come from, nobody cares about anything. We're just here to watch racing and get every car back on the track, and you know, that's the reason I do it. I'm aiming for 6th in the championship. The last year I finished 9th. If I can finish 6th, then that was my goal. And next year I want to try and push for some wins or even better myself, but it's such a tough championship. It really, really is. So we'll just have to see what happens.
If you want to find out more information, be sure to check out the 750 Motor Club website. That's linked in the description of this video. That will have much more information about this series and how you can get involved. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much to everyone who was involved in making this episode possible. Be sure to tune in soon for the next episode, where once again we'll delve into another one of the series or championships the 750 Motor Club is promoting this year.